Today, we're going to talk about Ayesha Curry, the Ayesha Curry interview on Call Her Daddy. We're going to talk about that. We're going to do the reaction video. We'll watch the interview together. It's an hour. I'm Taylor Chandler, licensed marriage and family therapist. Y'all, I'm going to say this for the record. Okay, this is very important. This is not a personal thing. This isn't about Ayesha Curry. We're going to use this interview to talk about some things that are happening in real life. Okay, like how should you really handle your relationship in public? Are there things that came up in the interview that really are concerning? Are there things that she's being villainized for that really that she shouldn't be? Okay, is she really a villain or is she being villainized? Not the same thing. Okay, is she a villain or is she being villainized? So we're going to talk about these kinds of things. This isn't about Ayesha Curry. This isn't about Steph Curry. We're going to use this to understand what's going on in real life, in real relationships, and how we should move forward. All right, y'all, let's get into the interview. Let's just get to it.
Alex Cooper with Call Her Daddy.
Ayesha Curry, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to meet you. How are you doing today?
I'm hanging in there right now. I'm really nervous to be here.
Wait, why?
I'm so excited.
Oh my God, Ayesha.
Yeah, so I'm just grateful. I'm excited. Hoping I don't get in trouble for the things that I say.
I feel like we're gonna have good girl talk.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
so too.
You're not in the hot seat. Like you.
Yeah, I know.
Is it good that I'm catching you in the off season, or okay, good.
It's great.
So you're more chill during the off season.
Super chill. Yeah, I mean it's still chaotic. It's always chaotic, but we're like learning to live in that.
What do you guys usually do during this time of year? Are you traveling? Are you staying at home?
Well, right now, because it's July, it's always the most chaotic of the year, actually, of the whole calendar year, because 3 of our kids' birthdays are in July. Our anniversary is at the end of July. And it's like, if you play well, like for my husband, if you play well, you play until June.
But the fact that we have to immediately use Steph Curry as the leverage point, I just find kind of interesting. So I'll say that.
Usually plays well.
He usually plays well. This year we had a little bit more time, which was nice, but usually it's just 2 months and that's it.
Okay, 4 kids. Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So.
Okay, this is where it's about to start. I think it's about to start. We are 90 seconds in, and this is the clips. We saw a lot of clips and meme. I don't know if they're called memes. What is it called? I don't know what it's called when it's like a picture and then this. I don't know if they're called memes. I don't know what it's called, but you know that you saw some things about this, and this is what we're about to hear is the things that were going viral on the internet. I'm going to back up. Alex asked her, I'm going to rewind it a little bit. Alex asked her, did you always know that you wanted kids? And she said no. And this is where things just start to get, controversial.
A bit more time, which was nice, but usually it's just 2 months and that's it.
Okay, 4 kids. Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it.
Okay, I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. Now, the context that we literally do not have, y'all, this is definitely not about, if you know me, you know, I'm balanced. This is definitely, I am not all women are a problem at all. Because I know a lot of problematic men. Okay, I'm going to say that for the record, a lot of problematic men. So this is definitely, I'm definitely going to try to give a fair assessment of what's going on here. All right, that's really important. The context that we don't have in her answer that I think is important is the age that she's saying, I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. And I thought I was going to be, let me actually make myself a little bit bigger because I'm going to have to edit some of this stuff. I didn't want to have kids. I didn't want to get married. And I thought I was going to be a career person. With the context that you don't have is at what age she's referring to. Okay. And that's really important. I'm gonna rewind that. We're gonna do this. We're gonna piece this up. This is important. Okay. I'm gonna rewind it. We're gonna hear it again because we have to understand that sometimes we're hearing something that you want to hear, that you think you're hearing, and and maybe there's something else that you don't know. And so that I think is important. That's fair. I think that's fair. All right. We got to be fair.
I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals and I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's like it's one of those things like you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
Well, so
It's a very vague answer. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's a very vague answer that someone could do a whole lot with, and so the public did. Okay, and so the public did, as to be expected. Okay, she said she didn't want kids, she didn't want to get married, and she thought she was going to be a career woman. And then she said, and then it happened so soon. She missed a lot of context that could have been really helpful. For example, if she would have said something like, she said, I was never the little girl who, and that's totally fine. Not every, I think, gentlemen, you got to understand, not every girl dreams of being that. And that doesn't necessarily, like, things can change. Just like men don't, a lot of men will say, I didn't want to get married until. Okay. So it's really not that different for a lot of women. All right. Some women do have that ideal, and some women have different ideals, and both people can change. Y'all, we're going to do this fairly. Okay. We're going to do this fairly. Now, with the context that we don't have is like, all the way up until, high school or through college, I didn't want to get married. And then as my values started to change, or like my ideals started to change, or career wasn't what I thought it was going to be, or I had these realizations or whatever. She just said, and then it happened. And so the issue with that setup is, it seems like you got married to someone. Again, this is what it sounds like. We're going to go off of what she literally said. We're also going to talk about some interpretations of what she said. All right. What it sounds like, what it could sound like is, I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to have kids. And then it just happened to me. It just happened to me. Not like a realization or a maturing or a growing into it or whatever. It just happened to me, which sounds like you were dragged into it. Again, that's how it can be interpreted. If I can get there, if I can make that argument that it sounds like you just were dragged into it, like stuff just came and got you and you never wanted this. If I can get to that, use that kind of, what am I trying to say, y'all? If I can do that line of reasoning, then other people can too, because you're missing context. You're not giving information that helps us to paint the picture. Is that fair, y'all? Let me know. Does that make sense? We're going to get into the little intricacies of this. That's kind of the point, right? I'm going to rewind the tape. I'm going to show y'all something that stands out to me. Okay.
for kids, did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So I didn't want kids.
It's the hesitation for me that also gives me pause. And it's okay. It's definitely okay that people, have some ideals and then change them, have some goals and then change them, for sure. I want to be so clear about that. It's the kind of like, it seems like almost like she hadn't thought about it. Like almost like processing in real time, like, I actually, like, I'm kind of surprised. Like, it just seemed kind of like the hesitation kind of seemed a little strange to me.
I didn't want to get married.
And
I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it.
and then the really wide eyes, kind of like, I can't believe this happened to me. And that stands out to me.
And I had my eyes set on my goals. And I was never the little girl that like dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's like it's one of those things like you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
Well, it's so interesting you say that because I want to talk a lot about.
And that's real. You really, there's some things that you that you don't know when you're younger, whether you're a man or a woman, that you want and realize that you want later. Okay? That's so normal. I don't think that's something to be villainized or act like that's not also you in some kind of way, you know?
About that today because I relate to you in that way. Like, I really, really never thought I was going to get married. I'm like, there is actually no way that's ever going to happen. And then it happens, and you're like, maybe I didn't know myself that well. And it's like, no, you knew yourself when you were young.
Yes.
And then life happens, and then you
Yes.
grow up, and then you have different wants and needs, and that's okay to change your mind.
Yes.
But it's still shocking.
It's still shocking.
Okay, wait.
I mean, shocking though. Shocking sounds like I could have never imagined it, right? Like I could have never imagined. And that I do think that there is a difference between someone having the stance of, I never want to do this, and maybe I do, maybe I don't. I think that actually does. I think that matters clearly. Okay. I think that it matters. It definitely, I think, comes out in the way that you reflect on your experience in the relationship. Because if you started at, I will never do this, and then you do it, you end up becoming a person you never imagined you would be. Rather than, maybe I could, maybe I couldn't, I'm really not sure, I'm figuring it out. And then it becomes more apparent along the way. All right. That's my take on that.
Quickly back to parenting. I'm going to ask you a couple random like parenting manual questions. Okay. What is a time one of your kids embarrassed you in public?
My daughter, Ryan, we were in a very public place. I'm trying to remember where. I'm blanking because I think this just like overshadowed the whole thing.
Mhm.
But she yelled out like, Mommy, do you have weaves? Is that a weaves? Like with an S. Do you have weaves in your hair? And I'm like, yes.
No, Ryan. You're like, Ryan, thank you so much. Mommy loves you. Kids will humble you
They
every
will humble
fucking
you
day.
back.
Sometimes rich people don't have a really good sense of humor. I think I don't. It's hard. It's hard for me. I really don't like when I feel like I have to fake laugh with somebody, like you, like because I see you laughing and you're cracking yourself up, and then I'm like, ah.
Yes.
Okay, what's a bribe you used recently to get your kids to do something?
Oh, I paid my daughter, my 13-year-old Riley, and my niece Ava, I paid them $20 to clean up the kitchen and the living room. Back in my day, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. I would have just had to do it.
Okay, what is the weirdest thing you found in your kid's backpack or pocket?
So I just found, I found my nipple covers in my son's pocket. He
Alice is cracking up. Like this isn't. It's not even funny yet. Like where's the punchline though? I don't know, y'all. This is just. It's like awkward for me to watch.
Yeah, he must have found them in my purse or out the counter. And he's like, you can always tell, like, when he's like, and then he walked in and he goes, Mommy, do you know what's under here? And I
No.
had forgotten
No.
that fast
No.
that he had put them in his pocket. He's like, do you know what's under here? And I'm like, no. Cannon, what are you doing? And he goes, I said, take them off. And he's just like smiling ear to ear. He thinks it's hysterical. Oh my God.
That is actually though hysterical.
Definitely.
It's literally not. It's literally not hysterical. Like it's just not. Like now it's funny because we're talking about it, but like it wasn't funny at all. Why do we have to lie to people?
You have
You're
to
like,
leave the room.
he's like,
Like,
this is not
'cause
happening.
you don't want to laugh too hard because then they'll just keep doing it. He was like,
Steph is like, I am leaving. You're like mortified.
It's so bad.
You graduated high school early
Yeah.
to move to LA to
Yeah.
start your acting career.
Yeah.
Tell me about like coming out to LA. What early ambitions did you have for yourself, and like what
Yeah.
did you want?
It's interesting because I don't ever, I think, get the opportunity to kind of talk about my life before my life now. And so, yeah, I graduated high school a year early.
Let's back up. Let's rewind the tape. Because Ayesha Curry has gotten, this has come up quite a bit. Y'all. It's come up quite a bit where her regularly, wanting to emphasize her life before. Now, everybody has a life before their relationship, but it does start to give people pause when you're just always so excited to talk about your life before. Okay, or it's like, wow, I finally get to talk about my life before my husband. Okay, right. Okay, let's rewind it here and let's take a look. Ayesha, you said it.
Career.
Yeah.
Tell me about like coming out to LA. What early ambitions did you have for yourself, and like what
Yeah.
did you want?
It's interesting because I don't ever, I think, get the opportunity to kind of talk about my life before my life now. And
Here's how here's what I think about this. Here's what I think about this. Because at the beginning I said, if you're going to bring the individual on, they should be interesting enough and have something of value to bring on their own and not have to use their spouse as leverage, especially when their spouse is not there. Okay. So I do think that. And at the same time, when the individual is actively leveraging their spouse for opportunities and then bothered that people keep wanting to talk about her husband that she leverages on her own, it feels like a double bind. It feels like that's like I want my cake and eat it too. Whatever the hell that saying is. is I want the best of both worlds. Does that make sense? I just want to be fair about this because I agree with you, Dwayne. No, it doesn't. She does not have to be centered around Steph Curry. Okay, she has a life. She had a life before. She has an individual life even during. And this is what I think. If you're going to use your husband as leverage for your career, and then you are bothered when people keep referring to your husband and the family that y'all created, it seems it's kind of like that feels like a double bind. Okay, we're not supposed to focus on your husband, and at the same time, are you using your husband as leverage for your own career? I think if we could just ask that, if we could just get her to answer that question, because I would love to hear that answer. I would love to hear what she would say. Honestly, I would love to hear what she would say. And again, this isn't about Ayesha Curry. Want to understand that this is a conceptual thing we're talking about. Okay. But if you're going to use your relationship as leverage and then be upset when people, okay, you understand what I'm saying? So I would want to ask her, to what extent do you use your relationship to leverage your career? That's all. That's what I want. That's what I want to know. Give me a percentage. Just give me a percentage. And it's not to try to pin you. It's just I want to know what what her own perception is. Is that a fair question? To what extent can you give me a percentage, 0 to 100%? Would you say that you leverage your last name and your husband's image to boost your own career? I would love to know what she thinks about that.
so, yeah, I graduated high school a year early. At the time, was living in North Carolina, and I'd been in the industry since I was 3 years old. I was always working. Commercial, print, like doing TV stuff, always. So other kids were at like soccer, doing the extracurriculars, and I was on a set working. And so it was second nature for me. And quite honestly, growing up, the only thing that I thought I could do. And so I would enter all of these competitions. I entered this one in North Carolina, and they
I'm gonna pause. She's about to start, going on a little bit of a resume here, and that's okay. We're gonna listen to it. Okay, seeing you all notice some or perceiving, let's say perceiving some resentment. Okay, allegedly. Jay Malachi, hey, can we also speak to the framing of the podcast? Call her daddy. Yeah.
were like, hey, move to LA.
What a speak to that. Here's what I'll say about it. Here's what I'll say about it. Okay, here's what I'll say about it. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? What do y'all think about the name of the podcast? Call Her Daddy. When I see things like that, here's how it sort of lands for me. I'll give you my honest opinion. Some people would call that eggplant envy, if you know what I'm talking about. Okay, some people could interpret that as eggplant envy, and I think you would have an argument based on just the name alone. I think you would have an argument for that, right? Now, what does that mean? It means that you basically want to appropriate, I hope that's the right word for this, appropriate the privilege of the man while still maintaining your femaleness. Okay, call her daddy. So I think that that's interesting, and I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Let's get back to it.
Okay. And I grew up, I think it's really important to preface, I grew up in like the most strict environment. Like, didn't get to go to high school football games, didn't get to really hang out with my friends. Damn sure couldn't like walk around the mall by myself. But when these people were like, hey, you want to move to LA? They were like, yeah, go.
Your parents were like, have fun, honey. You're like,
go. Like, you're going to do it. And I appreciate it because that means they believed in me so much. But at the same time, our entire family was like, this is crazy. Like,
it's the talking out of both sides of your neck. That's what that saying means, right, y'all? Talking on both sides. And it makes it really easy for people to kind of get you, because on one hand, you're saying you resent the strictness. You resent that you couldn't do certain things, walk around the mall with your friends, hang out with your friends, go to high school football games. But when it came to pursuing your career, there was a lot of support. So again, this is her expressing her truth, and I have an episode, y'all, coming out about this whole issue with my truths. I've talked about it before. I'm talking about it again. She's sharing her experience, and there is a dual nature to the experience. Okay, and that's normal. That is normal. Okay, or rather, I should say that's fine and common. And where you can see that some of it bothered me, and some of it I'm grateful for. That's okay. I think where it becomes difficult, or rather challenging for the person who's expressing this, especially on such a public platform, is it is very easy to label you as ungrateful. It's very easy to do that. So there's also this layer of what we're talking about, which is one of the layers we're going to talk about in this episode, is what's true in real life, like what's normal to happen in real life, and then what happens when you share that very personal experience of like the dual nature of your experience. When you share that very personal experience on a public platform, it doesn't take away from the validity. Your experience is valid. The duality of it is valid and fine. But when you put it out there in such a public way, it is really easy to label you as ungrateful, because a lot of people really do not want to deal with the nuance. Okay, does that make sense, y'all? A lot of people really don't want to deal with the nuance, so they would rather put you in one box of like she's ungrateful, rather than it was both this and that. Okay, the internet's is really what's the opposite of generous? Is the internet won't give that to you for the most part, especially when you have such a big audience. So although I think I hope you all can see that the both and exists. I both felt limited. Speaking as her, I both felt limited in my experience in childhood, and I appreciated what those limitations, what it was pushing me towards. That is, I think we can all think of something like that in our own lives. So that's being fair. And then when it's put out publicly, it's very easy for someone to say, well, you're ungrateful. And I think, and so that's really my take on that. Like, I don't think that's what we're seeing is like an ungrateful heart. I think we're seeing something like what Vash is saying, like she is sharing her process and is doing it in a way that is easy to poke holes in. And that's unfortunate.
Was it because like your mom just saw something in you? Like
we the story is, because obviously I have no recollection. We were in a grocery store and a talent agent said, oh, she should be in commercials. And so it started from there and then kept going. And
when you
and y'all, I can't get over, it's the wide eye look, y'all, that I think is actually, I think it matters. And I don't know what she looks like normally, like just in normal life. Let me go back and see. Doesn't always look wide eyed. All right. Why am I saying that? Because this is what I'm saying when I say that. Or what it could potentially, what it kind of means, what it looks like to me, or what I wonder about. Like if she was sitting in front of me, I would wonder about this with her. I would wonder. So I think kind of what Vash is saying, it's like she's sharing in the middle of a process. It's almost like she hasn't come to terms with the old and the present. It's almost like she hasn't come to terms with it. That's what the body language is giving. Like kind of like it all just happened so fast, and I didn't want something, and then it happened, and I moved to LA, and boom, bang, orangutan. Like boom, 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 boom. 4 kids, 5 kids, 4 kids, husband, all this stuff going on. And it's almost like she's like, I have, like, what has happened to me? And I would wonder about that, like with her, if she was my client. Okay. What do y'all think about that? Let me get this off the stage here. Add to the stage. Okay.
that young and then kind of became aware of it? Like, did you love it? Like,
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it.
Mhm.
Eat, sleep, breathe.
Okay, so you come from the strict family, then you get on a plane after graduating high school early. So you're what, 17?
Yeah, I was 7.
And it's the romantic, I don't think, let me know if I'm pausing it too much, but it's the romanticizing of the old that also gives me the impression that she has not come to terms with it, or even seeing, let me get myself back up here, or might not even be seeing that, let me see what I'm about to say. What was I about to say? Lord, I can't remember. It'll come back up. But yeah, it seems like she's romanticizing the old. And we're gonna watch that happen again, and might not realize that she has a distorted idea of what it would have been like if she had continued down that path, or you might not even be acknowledging that actually, you didn't like, maybe you didn't like going to all those auditions, maybe you didn't like the pressure of everything being on you, maybe you didn't like the way that the casting directors were talking to you. Like, we're not getting any of that. It was all just peaches and cream and butterflies and ice cream. Okay. And is that realistic? Probably not. So that to me speaks to like the romanticizing of the past and not having it maybe a more accurate, holistic idea of what might have been your real experience, but you're, as someone said, juxtaposing it to your very present experience. And so one seems like, oh, I could have just, because this seems like I'm in my present experience, I'm very aware of the, let's say the irritations, the frustrations, the whatever. And I have a lot of space from that past experience. And so that feels like relief, where my present feels like it's a challenge. So that's something that comes up for me as well here.
I'm aware of it. Like, did you love it? Like,
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. Eat, sleep, breathe.
Okay, so you come from the strict family, then you get on a plane after graduating high school early. So you're what, 17?
Yeah, I was 17. My dad set me up for like a month. I got an apartment, ridiculously expensive. So I was shocked. Had to pick up 3 jobs. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch and a farmer's market on the weekends. So like just to be able to make that happen.
And I feel like when you have the dream of
But the way she said that was with smiles and laughs, almost like still like, I was grinding, I was doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, I mean, let's just look. The difference between the way she talked about that and at the beginning of this interview stands out to me. Let's go. Like, she's not saying it like, oh my God, I was working so hard, 3 jobs. I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. Like, I mean, the idea of what it is that I wanted to do sounded really good, but then the reality of it was like I was hardly getting any sleep. I was working doubles every day. I was getting 4 hours of sleep, waking up with the birds, and like I was tired. No, it's like I was doing my thing. And I think that is more of that like romanticizing of the past, but then that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. I wonder how y'all see it.
So I was shocked, had to pick up 3 jobs. I worked at a frozen yogurt shop. I worked at Abercrombie and Fitch and a farmer's market on the weekends to like just to be able to make that happen.
And I feel like when
I think there's so
you
much
have the dream of
pride.
LA and acting or modeling or getting into this industry, like naturally rejection comes with that.
Oh God.
When you came out to LA, what was your self-confidence like before you started like really getting maybe some no's?
I think because I came from the small town, I was like, oh, I got this. And then I got out here. And I remember the first couple of like cattle call auditions being like, every single person in here looks exactly like me. Like these are like, we're carbon copies of each other. Like, what's going to set you apart? And so I think early on, I was like, wow,
No, she keeps laughing through everything.
I've got to diversify my portfolio a little bit.
Right, because in North Carolina, you're like, there's like 3 of us in theater that are crushing. And then you get out to LA and they're like, bitch, this is your first audition. Like, this is my 900th. Like, get in the back of the line. You're like, Dad.
And I'm walking in and I'm like, hello. And they're all like, why is this girl talking to us?
Okay, but like Ayesha, you have like a huge flex. I found out that you were on an episode of Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
Girl, that was my favorite show growing up.
Days.
So you know what? I would put that, if I was you, I would put that on my resume. I would put that as my Instagram.
It should be the Instagram bio.
I was on Hannah Montana, you fuckers.
Actually, I have a good story.
This is like not funny at all. Like the laughing is like it's funny when I say it, when I point it out. I'm laughing because it's like it's not funny. Like, why do we have to laugh like this?
Find this funny.
Okay. I'm dead.
The one little episode, I was so excited. I remember calling Stephanie.
Like I cannot. The idea of being like, I gotta go to dinner with y'all is just like, oh my gosh, I just can't even. Like I would have to ghost on the day. I would have to ghost on the friend date. I would have to go to the bathroom, not come back.
Like I got it. He was so excited for me. I remember going to set and there was this lovely girl who was like in some of the scenes with me, and Billy Ray walks up and he's like, we're like, oh, hello, sir. Like, so nice to meet you. And he's like, you guys, it was actually so sweet. Okay. He was like, you guys can really do this. You can really do this. And we're just looking at him like, do what? And he's like, Miley puts her pants on the same way you do every day. But it stuck with me.
It's kind of true. You're like, I could be Hannah Montana.
Like, he's right.
You're literally like, what are you talking about, sir? And then you're like, oh, you're talking big picture here. I got it.
Big picture.
This is like a little metaphor. I see where you're going with this, Billy Ray. So during that time, you and Steph were already dating with the Hannah Montana.
We were dating,
okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back. Let's talk about how you met Mr. Steph Curry.
Okay, so y'all, fair. They Alex talked to her about her life before Steph, so she did get the space. Okay, now we're going to transition to her relationship. Wait a second. Can y'all see it?
You
Yeah.
met him in high school?
Yeah. So I'm Canadian.
Okay.
So I grew up in Markham, Ontario. And I moved to the States at 14 to North Carolina. And that's actually where we met. He's one of the first people that I met in the States. But just friends. Obviously, we were 14.
Right.
Went to the same church, shared the same friend groups at church. And then when I moved to LA, he Facebooked me.
Did he write on your wall, or it was like a private message?
No, it was a private
Okay.
message, but he was like, "Hey, do you still live in LA?" That's a lie. The first message was, I was in this music video, and he was like, "Hey, who is that in the music video, in the picture that you're in?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Young Berg." And he goes, "Oh, I should have known. He always has all the sexy ladies." And I was like, "What is happening right now?"
You're like, Steph, I knew you said you're 14. I was 14. What are you trying to do right now?
At this time now, we're 19.
Okay.
18, 19. And so he goes, "Do you still live in LA?"
Okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with what she said. Okay. There's nothing wrong with a lot of what she said, but here's how the interpretations and what it might mean is where it's where it gets a little, where it can get a little dicey. Okay. We've already agreed she's sharing her experience, and everybody gets to share their experience. That's something that everybody gets to do, right? Whether you're a celebrity or just just normal people like us. Okay, everybody gets to share their experience. But here's the difference here. There's two things. I'm going to talk about it from a normal person level, all right, and then I'm going to talk about it from the public level. It definitely was not receptive. It wasn't rejecting. It was not rejecting. It was also not receiving. I think that's fair to say. It wasn't like, why is he messaging me? Now that would have been an obvious, blatant, like, okay, like, now that was unnecessary. And now we have even more questions. Okay. It wasn't that, but it wasn't receiving. It's not what she said, it's the undertone. Okay. It's the undertone, it's what she's not saying. Okay. And it leaves a lot of room for suspicion about how you really feel, because when you're really in it, when you're really into it, it's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's my thing. So I'm seeing the same thing here with Ayesha Curry here. Even if that was the case, that you were like, I didn't know what to think. You know, they're 18, 19. He sends me this message. He always has sexy ladies. Even if you didn't know what to make of it, now you are in your mid 30s, probably mid to late 30s. I don't probably how anyway, you know, she passed the age of 32, let's say, right? You because of the nature of your relationship and the public nature of this, and how this is going to reflect on your husband, even if you were kind of thrown off, 20, 15 years ago, you just don't have to make it sound that way today. Okay. It could have sounded a lot different. Like, he reached out to me and he said I was really good looking. Like, that was that too hard? Was that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? So it's those little things that are kind of like, let's keep going.
"Hey, who is that in the music video, in the picture that you're in?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's Young Berg." And he goes, "Oh, I should have known. He always has all the sexy ladies." And I was like, "What is happening right now?"
You're like, Steph, I knew you said you're 14. I was 14. What are you trying to do right now?
At this time now, we're 19.
Okay.
18, 19. And so he goes, "Do you still live in LA? I'm here for a camp. Do you want to hang out?" And I'm like freaking out, because this guy, he was like the guy at church. Like, all the girls loved him.
I thought you were going to say, like, in high school, like on the court. You're like, at
No.
church, he was the guy.
At church.
Was he the basketball guy in high school or no?
Apparently he was, but I genuinely didn't pay attention to that, because I grew up in such an arts-driven family that sports outside of like Doug Flutie playing for the Buffalo Bills like it just wasn't a thing in my house. And so he said, so we made plans to hang out, and then
she just communicates in kind of in a confusing way, where you just don't know how you just it's so easy to be like, I don't know how she really feels about this, because she's like, I was freaking out because he's like the guy, but I didn't really see it though myself. So I was freaking out because other women wanted him, but I didn't see him that way. That's what I mean. That's basically like what she's saying. Let's just look at this now.
Loved him.
I thought you were gonna say like in high school, like on the court. You're like at
No.
church, he was the guy.
At church.
Was he the basketball guy in high school or no?
Apparently he was, but I genuinely didn't pay attention to that because I grew up in such an arts-driven family.
Apparently he was. You know, at this point, you literally know. See, it's stuff like that, Ayesha. I'm trying to, y'all can see I'm trying to give it a really fair shake, but apparently he was. It's Steph Curry, you know? I mean, I just feel like even if you didn't like him as a person, probably everyone should be able to have said, yeah, he was that guy and he was the player in high school. Like why can't you just confidently say that, regardless of how you feel about him as an individual? Like that just seems like it's like why go it all out of your way to reduce his greatness, like his objective greatness, like by the stats. You know what I'm saying? Like why go out of your way to do that? Like apparently he was the guy, but I wasn't paying attention. No, like he actually was though. Like he just actually was. Like, so it's okay if you didn't value it the same way as other people. I totally understand that. Totally understand that. Like I'm not a basketball person, but yeah, he was like, I mean, it was incredible what he was doing. Doesn't that sound a bit more doesn't that sound a little bit better?
I genuinely didn't pay attention to that because I grew up in such an arts-driven family that sports outside of like Doug Flutie playing for the Buffalo Bills like it just wasn't a thing in my house. And so he said, so we made plans to hang out, and then I said, where are you staying? And he said, Anaheim. And I was like, I was like,
you're like, so you're coming to me because I'm not.
At this point, I still have the other jobs, like trying to pay the rent. Gas is expensive. So I was like, I'm sorry, I can't this time, but if you're ever back, let me know and we'll go hang out.
Again, it's her experience. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good and it doesn't look good. It just doesn't sound good and it doesn't look good unless you're about the boss babe life. Okay? Then it sounds, and from that frame, yeah, you were that girl. You had all these jobs and you were making it work and you were out there in LA doing it on your own. And I mean, yeah, he gonna have to work around. He's gonna have to work around. You know, he's that guy, but he gonna have to work around me. Yeah, it sounds good from that vantage point, but from other vantage points, it sounds like you're literally laughing, talking about how you put him off. So that just doesn't, from that vantage point, it does not look good, doesn't sound good. Does that make sense, y'all?
Like,
and I was like,
like, oh, it's hard to defend that. It's hard to defend that. It's hard to defend that 15 years later or whatever, or 20 years. I don't know how much longer a year later you're still laughing like that about it. To find like humor in it just seems off. I'm trying to give it a fair shake. I really am. The more that I listen and the more that I watch, kind of, it's like G. Taylor said, we're kind of, you start to put some things together like that, you know? But let's keep going.
Said, so we made plans to hang out. And then I said, where are you staying? And he said, Anaheim. And I was like, I was like,
you're like, so you're coming to me because I'm not.
At this point, I still have the other jobs, like trying to pay the rent. Gas is expensive. So I was like, I'm sorry, I can't this time, but if you're ever back, let me know and we'll go hang out. And he's like, oh, I'm back in 2 weeks. And I'm like,
she's just making him sound so thirsty. And that's
oh my God.
This is the stuff. It's like, even if that's how you really felt, why put it out on the internet like that? The more that I see it, y'all, the more that I'm looking at it, the more I'm pointing out, the worse it's kind of looking, honestly. Okay. She's just making him sound so thirsty. And it's fine that you are doing your own thing too. but why make him look so thirsty? Like, why are you getting like joy out of that? And that's the suspicious part. That's the suspicious part. It's suspicious.
And he's like, oh, I'm back in 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my God.
You still in Anaheim?
And so, no, this time he was in Hollywood. So he stuck with it. He hit me up 2 weeks later. We hung out and we've literally been together since that day.
Okay, hold on. You go and you hang out with him.
He stuck with it. He stuck with it.
Mhm.
What is your headspace? Are you seeing him in like a could this be something kind of way? Or
No.
are you like, no?
No, I was, and this was like my first real date. So I was just nervous.
Okay.
I was nervous. It was like years of having a crush. And then years, like I just never thought that he would like someone like me. I just didn't think it was going to
Okay.
be a thing.
Okay, that gave some context. See, you got to watch the whole video. You got to watch the whole videos. You got to give it some context. Did you hear that? Okay. So what she just spoke on was an insecurity. What you just spoke on was an insecurity. I didn't think he would like me. And so I wasn't seeing the relationship as even something that would develop, because why would he be interested in me? That is very honest. That is very honest. And we need to, matter of fact, we need to definitely clip that and make sure we put that out there. That was very honest. The problem is, because you didn't own that on the front end. Listen, let me put it like this. People who feel bad about themselves make people around them feel bad about themselves. And so they will do strange things, passive aggressive behaviors to make you feel down because they feel down. All right. She just admitted, and thank goodness, she just acknowledged that she had an insecurity about herself that said, this man who is on this path could not be interested in me. Thank you, Ayesha. We can absolutely do something with that. More women need to acknowledge that. Thank you for that. That was so good. That was so good. That was so honest. Now she kind of said it in a little muted, I mean, I just kind of, we're going to rewind it and because she didn't say it too, we're going to rewind it and watch it again. All right. But that was very important. But because she doesn't lead with that, she has these subtle ways of putting him down, these passive aggressive subtleties that kind of rubbing you the wrong way, because she has an issue. And people who feel bad about themselves make people around them feel bad, and will make it think that will make it seem like it's you that's the problem, when really they're the one with the problem. And then they, like, some people will do something like what she kind of does, seems like, and push you away and keep distance from you so that you don't get close enough to see that maybe I'm really not your match. Maybe I'm not who you think that I am. Instead of leading with that, she has these weird other ways of putting him down and making him wait and going around the block and you can, and I'm not coming to you and all of that, instead of being like, I didn't think I was worth it. I didn't think I was valuable enough. I didn't think that you would really like me. And that's why I delayed this. And that's why I'm guarded. And that's why, see, look, y'all, doesn't that sound different? Doesn't that sound different? Like, what would it be like for her to lead with that and own that and work with that, rather than doing all this other stuff that makes her end up looking badly? Now, I think with the mistake that the public makes is they're not coming to that kind of, they're not putting all that kind of interpretation together. They're just seeing her, and it's because it's being highlighted, and it's people. Some people are hearing what they want to hear, of course, or coming to inaccurate conclusions, and that's okay, and that happens. But they're seeing her just putting him down, and we're not taking that really important piece of information that she didn't think she was better, and that's what people do when they don't feel good about themselves. So she's just labeled as ungrateful rather than as insecure. Okay. Now, of course, now I'm not the first one that damn put that together. Of course, I'm definitely not the first one to put that together. But I think we can acknowledge that that's not the prevailing narrative about her. It's definitely more of a villainized thing rather than, wow, she must feel poorly about herself. So point is not to sympathize with it. Okay. The point is to just make that connection and paint that picture of how someone ends up sounding this way when they really have an insecurity they have not fully owned, taken responsibility for, and resolved. Okay.
You
Thought
weren't
we
a
would be
friend group.
friends. Yeah. Years, like, I was nervous. It was like years of having a crush. And then years, like, I just never thought that he would like someone like me. I just didn't think it was going to be a thing.
You see how she said that so small and so quick. She'd been slow talking the whole way, and then I'm telling you, it's little stuff like that. Now I don't think you should be going around analyzing everybody like this, but the point is, like, the point of this kind of video is to do that. It's way too much energy to be doing that in real life. No need to do all of that. But just to show you what we're really seeing, she got smaller and she spoke faster. Like, I'm gonna hurry up and say that. Okay, I'm gonna say that. then really owning it, because she hasn't. It just seems like she hasn't really owned it and isn't. Yeah, y'all get it, right?
You
Thought
weren't
we
a
would be
friend group.
friends. Yeah, someone like me. I just didn't think it was going to be a thing. I
You
thought
weren't a
we would
friend
be
group.
friends. Yeah.
Did you ever have anything in high school at all, or it was legit just friends?
No, just friends. Just friends. Yeah.
I get what you're saying of, like, you never saw him as something, but I'm like,
Yeah.
when you look back,
Mhm.
is there any memory that you're like, maybe there was something, or no?
No, never. I had a friend over who had a
And that would have been a really good time for her to double down in the reality that it seems like I didn't see it as a thing because I just didn't imagine he would like someone like me. But she leaves that part out whenever she's saying, I didn't see it in him. She leaves the part out about her that made it that way. And it makes it seem like it's about him. He wasn't something enough. He wasn't interesting enough, or he wasn't attracted enough, or he wasn't my type. So she leaves that part out. And so it seems like it's about him rather than it's about me. I actually thought he wouldn't choose me out of all the women that were interested in him. I didn't think he would choose me. And she leaves that part out. And that would really help her to be more likable if she would do that.
I had a friend over who had a crush on his brother at the time, and she decided to call him, and they were giggling, and then we're maybe like 15 at this time, and they put Stefan on the phone, and somebody said something about Canada. And so I was like, oh, I'm Canadian. And he's like, oh, do you like Canadian candy? And I'm like, I love Canadian candy. And so my aunt was coming into town from Canada, and so she brought some for me. And so I was like, oh, I'll bring you a bag to church the next time we're at church.
See, it was
So
meant to be. It was meant to be.
I bring the bag, and I literally, everybody's watching.
And yeah, this this will be posted on YouTube, not on Instagram. But this will be up on YouTube. I appreciate the compliment.
I hand it to him, and I don't say anything to him. I just shove it and walk away. Like, that's how shy
Ayesha.
I was.
And did you like him at all? Like, in your heart, you're like, oh, I wish I could.
Yes.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It was high school.
I thought he was so cute.
Mhm.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
fast forward.
These are just two people that aren't communicating well. And unfortunately, because Ayesha is not a good communicator about this, and I think it's probably, again, maybe because she hasn't really been able to articulate this even to herself. She doesn't communicate it really well, and then the host kind of lets it happen. And it seems like unintentional. It doesn't seem like she's trying. She's definitely not trying to frame her. She's like fangirling. Okay, that's I shouldn't say fangirling. But she does. It seems like the host does kind of give that. Maybe it is fair to say fangirling. She does kind of give that energy. Maybe that's just her personality. I've never watched this podcast before, so I don't know how she is, but she seems kind of like, she's a girl's girl. She's giving girl's girl energy. That's fair to say, right? And she doesn't flush out the question enough. So where whatever Ayesha says, it's like it's not being extracted, it's not being explored enough to really get a full idea of what she's really trying to communicate. So I just think that this is just honestly, it's just not a good interview. Like I don't think that this is a good interview to really understand what is going on. And then Ayesha does say, she said, yes,
Did you like him at all? Like in your heart, you're like,
look at this. This is her very excited.
I wish I could.
Yes.
Oh, wait.
He's watching. I hand it to him and I don't say anything to him. I just shove it and walk away. Like that's how shy
Ayesha.
I was.
And did you like him at all? Like in your heart, you're like, oh, I wish I could.
Yes.
Yeah, it just wasn't. It was high school.
I thought he was so cute.
Mhm.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Right? You all heard it. You heard it. She thought he was so cute. She does have an attraction to him. She's interested. Okay. Right? She said it. That's what she said. Right? And that her weirdness, her weird behavior, let's call it what it is, her weird behavior has a lot more to do with her insecurities than negative feelings about him himself. It's what it seems like, y'all. That's the word. Let's really get the full picture. Let's be fair.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God.
fast forward, you go on this first date.
Yeah.
What are the vibes?
It was one of the best days of my life. Honestly, it was so innocent and young and like
One of the best days of her life. You heard it.
I wish I could relive that or at least watch it from like a bird's eye view. It was so cute. We did Hollywood Boulevard, put our hands in the Maryland hands and like got chai lattes. We went over to the Grove and like walked around and they were filming some Eddie Murphy movie that we like I don't think it ever ended up coming out. And just had checking cop cars to see if they had donuts. Like just like real young love. I don't know. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I feel like when
It
you have one of
wasn't.
those first dates, though, like I feel that way about my husband. I always say that to him. I'm like, oh my God, what I would give to relive that night, or at least I say the same thing, just watch it. Like I wish I could just,
Yeah.
because it's so romantic and cute to know then what comes from that story.
Yeah.
So that's really cute because it is so innocent. You had no
Yeah.
idea what it was going to lead to.
And nobody could predict like what the future
No.
holds.
Did
It's
you
just-
guys kiss?
So y'all, you gotta admit, if you can't admit that she has just very explicitly said that she really enjoyed the date, she really enjoyed the time, she was very happy at that time. Okay, so let's be fair and look at the whole thing. Let's look at all of it. Because the internet did not the internet didn't highlight that part. They didn't show you that part. They didn't show you that part.
This first date?
No.
Did he try?
No, he tried. So shortly after that, I got a really bad bout of laryngitis.
Stop. This is so random.
And my throat was so swollen. It was like, and I panicked and I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to come home. And so I went home and he was like, I'm home. And so
You're laid up with laryngitis.
I got a little bit better and then we like continued dating from there, obviously. And like, I want to say it was maybe like the fourth date. He came like, I was mid-sentence and he like came flying at my face and I turned to the side. I'm still nervous at this point. Like it's like butterflies. And he's like, oh. And I just look at
see, this is people who lack confidence make people feel so awkward. And not at all this insecure people cause a lot of issues. And I'm not faulting her or blaming her. I know that I have had insecurities and do. Okay. And if we're going to be honest, I think that if you can't acknowledge any kind of insecurities, you're probably in some sort of delusion zone. I think that, anyway, I might want to get into that. So look, the issue is not that she had insecurities, but what I want to highlight is the way that creates a confusing experience for someone. Okay? It created a confusing experience. So because she's so nervous because I can't believe he really likes me. She's like, I can't believe he really likes me because because I wouldn't like me like that. Ayesha, I hope you watch this. I hope you watch this, girlfriend. I hope you watch this. I hope you get some help on this. I hope you do. I hope you do. Please do not do a Giselle and Tom Brady. Please don't do it. I do not want to see another one. I do not want to see another one of those. Okay. Please. I want you to get some help on this. I'm not being funny. I'm not being funny because that same stuff she was doing back then is the same stuff she's doing right now, but now from a mother and wife role, so look, y'all, I'm being serious. Let me do my job here. Let me do my job. Because she didn't feel good about herself, because she wouldn't have liked herself like that. She can't imagine that he really likes her like that. So then when he comes flying at her face, again, a strange way to frame that, right? Making him look crazy, flying at her face, like flying at your face, making him look like thirsty and abrupt and strange, weird behavior, flying at your face, trying to get you. Okay. Again, I want to frame it weird, make you look crazy because I was so nervous myself. Like actually, I should say in actuality, I was so nervous myself that I dodged it. I give you the impression that it's you. I don't like you. And she's still doing it. If she was my client, I would say, you still doing it. You still doing it, girlfriend. I want to call her that from my client perspective, but you're still doing it. Ayesha, you're still doing it. You still dodging. I feel like this is some therapy for her right now. I feel like in any ladies that are like this, you need to really reflect. Okay, you're making it weird for people, and you're sending the wrong message because you're not owning your own insecurities. You dipping and dodging, acting funny when a man is sitting right there in front of you, like, I like you, I want to be with you. And you like, don't touch me, don't look at me, don't come here, don't come to my house, don't take me out. You acting funny. Okay, so people who have insecurities and don't own it, or aren't aware of it and don't own it, or are not aware of it, or are aware of it and don't own it, cause really confusing experiences for people. All right. Now, why Steph was willing why the fact that Steph was steady pursuing someone who was actively dodging him. All we heard about was the first date, but you see the dodge. She has told us about a couple different incidents of dodging. We heard very few. I think maybe just one thing that we heard, maybe two of her not dodging. We heard a lot more dodging than not. And why he would continue to pursue that. Something about athletes, boy. Something about athletes.
And
let me go back, y'all. I'm starting to get into this.
I want to say it was maybe like the fourth date. He came, like, I was mid-sentence and he like came flying at my face, and I turned to the side. I'm still nervous at this point. Like it's like butterflies. And he's like, oh. And I just look at him and I'm like, I didn't know that's what we were doing. Like I didn't know you liked me like that. And
Ayesha.
he was like, yeah, I've just been coming over to your house for the past 2 weeks to play video games with your brothers. I was like,
you're like, oh,
try again.
Wait, one more time. Wait, and so did he try again?
Yes.
Oh, you okay? So you did. Okay, cute. I'm like,
Yeah.
this poor man gets rejected.
No, it was fine. It was like a split second,
but it's cute.
Okay. Okay. I mean, so we did it. They redid it, but point still stands. Point honestly remains.
Too, because like in that moment, you're still the girl with the candy, like handing it to him and running away. And meanwhile, he's like, I like you. Can you sit there and like accept it for a second?
Okay, Alex. All right. That might be that was honestly the best insight I heard from Alex. That's Alex Jones, the host. That's the best insight that I heard from her. So
that's really, really cute. Okay, so when you're living in LA, you guys reconnect. He didn't live in LA at the time, right?
No.
So this is like a light long distance situation.
It's a light long distance. Yeah, he still had a year of college left, so it was pretty long distance.
When you were in that beginning stage, did you have interest in a long distance? Like, how did you think this was even going to work?
Ironically, I don't even think I was thinking of how it could work. We were just going through the motions, really.
She can't even imagine that this would work out. This is someone who lacks confidence. Seriously, I'm not being funny. Because when you cannot even fathom something good working out for you, it's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. Someone said, yeah, she could benefit from my SER framework. Yeah. She's pretty much a perfect client. She's pretty much a perfect client. If she was open, if she, we don't know if she's actually open to dealing with this stuff. Does she even see it? I hope so. I hope she's working on it.
And it seemed like the people around us too, like our families, were into it. And so they were like a really good support system through it.
She seems so
I don't know.
confused. She seems so confused about everything. Again, as Vash said earlier, I don't know if she's still in the chat, but it's like she's still processing it in real time. And she seems like so confused. Why does he like me? Why are people saying that this would work? Why do people think that why me? That's what she said. That's what we keep hearing in different ways. That's what we keep hearing in different ways is why me? Why me? Why would this be my life? Why would this be my man? Why would this be my opportunity? Why me? It's kind of sad. The more that we look at it, actually, the more we look at it.
We were just going through the motions, really. And it seemed like the people around us too, like our families, were into it. And so they were like a really good support system through it. I don't know. It sucked now that I'm thinking about it. I remember I drove back to LA after he started his junior year of college and the season had started for him, but I had to go back for something. I don't remember what it was for. And at the time you could get like his college games on the radio. And so and it was a big game. And so I'm like listening, sobbing, like I'm not there to support.
You're literally driving home like the classic girl looking out the window, like so sad. You're like, fuck my life.
Yeah.
Oh my God. But then it obviously ended up working out.
So you hear what she said? She was upset that she was not there to support the game. So she's crying because she's listening to the game and she's not able to be there for him. That's definitely a point for like, her interest and her desire to be with him and how she saw him in the relationship. Right now, it's not communicated clearly though, and that's the insecurity in her distance. Like she probably, I did a lot of work with attachment. Right, this is like a fearful avoidant type of person, type of attachment style.
Oh, tell me about the moment that he gets drafted to the Golden State Warriors, because now he's coming full-time West Coast near you.
Yeah. So he had like a big decision to make because he had a year left. He had a senior year left. So it was like, do I stay? Do I go? And like, I think what a lot of people don't know is he really thought about it. Like it was like a torment for him. He called me like crying behind a tree. Like, I don't know what to do. And I'll stand like
people had issue with that, with her saying that, you didn't need to say that. And it's true, you didn't need to say that. You didn't need to say that he was crying behind a tree. It's not, see, why am I laughing? Because it's not a good picture. And that's something that absolutely you should leave that out if you're going to be on such a public platform. How many viewers does this podcast have? She might have, let me look it up real quick. Car Daddy. 1.73 million subscribers. 1.73 million subscribers. I don't care if it was 173 subscribers. I don't care if it was 17.3 subscribers. It's not something that these are the kinds of things you just don't put out on the internet, okay? Just because it's your experience doesn't mean you need to share it. And stuff that's making him look bad. Now, if he was on the podcast and he wanted to share that part of the story, go for it. But that's something that it's like, just keep that to yourself. Now, I think people just have different opinions about that, right? Like some people really prioritize being able to share their truth, their experience, and they will do it regardless, like no matter what. And because they value that so much, where some of us actually value something more like dignity. And I'm not being funny. I'm not trying to be judgmental. I'm really not. I think it's a value difference. Some people are they're like, I'm just being authentic. To what extent? Because if your authenticity now is overstepping into my dignity, this is my story. This is part of my story. Like, I know we shared the story, but I'm the one you're talking about, the one behind the tree crying. Okay. So when your authenticity now compromises my dignity, I am not someone who's going to say, well, at least you were being real. That's not me. Now, if that's you, that's cool. This is my reaction. This is what I think. I don't value authenticity to that degree, but some people put it on a pedestal and say, I can say anything, do anything, as long as I'm being for real, as long as I'm being real. And that's not my stance. I'm like, no, like, there's a limit to how much you have to do, how much you can be authentic, especially when I'm the one involved. I'm involved. Okay. Dwayne says his image is cemented. Oh, like Will Smith? Like Will Smith's image was cemented. Will Smith had an incredible career, and you don't think? See, listen, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna have to do something about Will, because I had so many thoughts and feelings about Will and Jada Smith. I did something a couple of years ago about them, and it was hilarious. But we need to kind of we might have to review the tape. See, Dwayne, I think you're going too far. You said nothing she's saying can make Steph look weak. You don't think that, let's go use Will Smith as an example. You don't, if you can't acknowledge that Will Smith's image has been tainted, I don't know if we can have a serious conversation. Now, you are totally welcome to your opinion. We can absolutely disagree. It's no problem. I love your comments. I love that you're engaged. So please keep saying, because more people also feel like you. Okay. More people think like you. We need to see I like to see how we think. Okay. But this is what I think. I think we have to admit that, like, for example, Will Smith's image has absolutely, in my opinion, absolutely been impacted. His trajectory, his career, the image has absolutely been negatively impacted by Jada Pinkett Smith's, and she loved that Pinkett. Let me not do it. I'm not going to do it right now. That Jada Pinkett Smith, because of her shenanigans, all right? I don't know if we can't acknowledge that there's been some image, some issues with the image that came from that. I don't know if we can have a serious conversation, because that just seems so obvious. Like, it seems really obvious that has a negative impact. Will Smith up there slapping people. Excuse me, let me not exaggerate. Slap one person on one of the most public stages. And we know it had something to do with Jada, 100%. That it all had all to do with Jada. And look what happened. To the point where the Oscars said, you can't be here because what you did impacts our image. You're a liability. Yeah, it has an impact. It totally has an impact. I don't think we should deny that. Okay, now that's my opinion. You're totally welcome to have a different one.
10 toes down on this. Like, it's not a secret. I was like, stay in school.
Wait, and why? Because then he was going to be far away from you still,
why?
Right?
So the why is, I didn't grow up surrounded by people who went to college. That for me was like, wow, what a blessing. Like, you get to go to college. You get to have an education. Like, why would you leave? So, and then not coming from that sports background and understanding how like rare the opportunity he had was, I was like, yeah, stay in school.
You're like, college is so much cooler than the NBA.
But I'm glad.
Wait.
That was really the sentiment.
Kind of love that for you.
But I'm glad he decided to leave, and then he ended up finishing anyway and has gone on to do tremendous, incredible, cool shit that we never thought would happen. So it's great.
So he comes to the
weird time to you haven't used foul. Again, y'all, I'm not trying to pick, but yes, we are going to point it out. This is really what I think. It's really what I think. We haven't heard one foul word the whole time until talking about what he's accomplished. And if you don't think that communicates anything, I'm not saying it's necessary. I think there's a lot of projection issue. I think there's a lot going on with her emotionally and mentally, which makes her communicate in ways that are unbecoming, okay, of the relationship of him and even of herself. All right. But we haven't heard one foul word come from this woman's mouth until she says what he went on to do. And our language our language does more than communicate the words that you're saying. It communicates. It can how do I say this? There are multi messages being communicated whenever we are communicating, whenever we are speaking. And I just think that is interesting. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Has gone on to do tremendous, incredible, cool shit that we never thought would happen. So it's great.
So he comes to the West Coast, and at this point, when he gets drafted, like, are you guys like official boyfriend, girlfriend?
Oh yeah.
Who said I love you first?
Me.
What? Tell me everything.
I 100% said I love you first. I was visiting him at school and getting ready to leave to go back to my mom's house. And I said it. And he didn't say it back. And he just stared.
And I know that oof. Well, let me go back here. Dangerfield Media says there are undertones in her conversation that implies she feels some type of way. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. I was really being really nice. I was really pulling back. Because I kind of, honestly, I'll tell you what's going on my side right now. I kind of feel like kind of bad for her, honestly, because I feel like there's just a lot of unawareness. Someone mentioned that she's oblivious. I think she's unaware herself and even of her own feelings. And so it's coming out in these really like unfortunate ways. I kind of feel bad for her. So I pulled a punch there. I really did. I did.
I 100% said I love you first. I was visiting him at school and he didn't say it back.
I know, I just crushed her.
And he just stared at me. And my eyes started to well up. And he was like, "Can I please explain?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he's
oh my God, that okay. I immediately now know what you're like in those moments in relationship.
Nah, see, if this was me doing this interview with her, I would have to wonder. How is that still impacting you now? Like where is that moment on the scale of unresolved to resolved? We're gonna have to do some wondering, some questioning about that. You know why it would be particularly important for me to get that from her is because that kind of moment for someone with her particular insecurities is just crushing. Now, Alex, who's not a therapist, she's just an interviewer. Okay, she's just interviewing. Fine. Alex is like, no, Ayesha, come here, because that seems like that would be really painful for you, especially because you didn't think that he even liked you at all. You didn't think you would ever end up with this man, and then you took a major risk by saying I love you. That must have been incredibly scary and risky for you. And then to not hear it back. I have to wonder where that's lodged in her psyche. Okay, in her emotions. I want to know, where is that? I'm not saying that she's still hanging on to it, but I am saying that with her particular issues, that would be an important thing for me to wonder about, because if it is still active, listen, we need somebody send this to somebody, tag Ayesha. Somebody needs to tag her because she needs some help. Okay. Because if that is still active, he is going to still be paying for how he felt humiliated in that moment. Somebody, come on. I know what I'm talking about. If that is not resolved, if there is not forgiveness for that moment, he will still be paying for it later. I don't care if it was 10 years ago, he's still going to pay for it. I'm not saying that you're holding it against him, but I'm gonna have to wonder about. I'm gonna have to wonder more about your emotions around this, because there are some things that a spouse will do that when the other does not forgive it, it don't matter how many things they do on top of it. It's that thing. It's that humiliation. Okay, it might be like it's like humiliation. It's that, or maybe a feeling of betrayal or a feeling of abandonment. Okay, that no matter what came on top of that, it was that moment, and that's a really emotional moment. That was a really emotional moment for her, a really risky moment for her, something that really stands out, a very meaningful moment to her. Okay, now we're going to hear what she says after that, but I really want to make that point. Okay, really want to make that point. Does this make sense, y'all? Do we like the intricacies of this?
And he was like, "Can I please explain?" And I'm like, "Okay." And he's
Oh my god, that okay. I immediately now know what you're like in those moments in relationships. You literally go stone cold, just like, okay. Let me know.
He's like, I
Ayesha.
said he's like, I said I love you to somebody in the past and I didn't mean it. He's like, and I regret it. And he's like, I just want to be sure that when I say it again, you know that I mean it. And in the moment, I was like, bullshit. But now obviously I realize he was serious. And a few like a month later, we're sitting watching 7 Pounds. And when they say like the human heart, 7 pounds, he literally, my whole family's in the room, by the way, sitting watching this.
I have to pause. I want you to hear something.
Later, now obviously I realize he was serious.
No, it's not obvious. It's not obvious to me. Now, if I'm talking to you, if you're my client, you sit across from me, it's not obvious. It's not obvious based on all the things that have happened in this interview so far. It's not obvious that you're really sure of a lot of things. So not obviously. It's not obvious that that he really meant it. It's not obvious. What I'm saying is it's not like I don't believe that it was necessarily obvious to you. Right? Because again, she doesn't even believe that he would like her, much less love her. And now she's like looking back, and she's like, after I thought about it, it was obvious. I'm like, is it? Are you? Is it obvious to you? Is it obvious to you, or are your insecurities still preventing you from being able to receive him the same way you were unable or had difficulty receiving him or keeping him close? Okay, because you keep pushing him away, keeping him close, the same way you were doing when you were 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So there's just a lot of questions here that I think are fair questions.
A few like but and in the moment I was like, bullshit. But now obviously I realize he was serious. And a few like a month later, we're sitting watching 7 Pounds. And when they say like the human heart, 7 pounds, he literally, my whole family's in the room, by the way, sitting watching this movie. He leans over in my ear and he's like, I love you. And I'm like happy, but I'm also like, what? Like,
What are you doing?
Sitting next to my uncle. What are we doing?
No,
What's happening?
not step in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic, and you're literally like,
I mean, if he's gonna do one thing, he's gonna make it memorable.
Okay. I wish we didn't have to pause it this much, guys. I really wish there weren't so many things. I really do. I really do. But because Steph had not reciprocated the I love you a month ago, when he did do it, you see how she was conflicted. I would reach, now this is really what I would do. This is really what I would reach and say, maybe it's not just that because you were surrounded by family, that it felt like a weird moment. Maybe it was also, or I would have to wonder if there would have been any good time for him to say it after you felt so maybe humiliated when he didn't say it back the first time. Why? Because you were still possibly holding it against him. Could there have been a good time? Right now, to her, let's say, credit, I can understand the on surface thing about, okay, we're watching a movie. You're saying it in the middle of the room with my family, and I feel kind of like awkward because she seems like an awkward person. So I could see how that would legitimately make her feel awkward. But I would also have to wonder about, like, you know, how the thing that happened the month prior impacted the way that you received it when it did come.
What are you doing?
Sitting next to my uncle. What are we doing?
No,
What's happening?
not Steph in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic, and you're literally like,
I mean, if he's gonna do one thing, he's gonna make it memorable.
so then did you just not talk the rest of the
I mean, Alex just really threw shade there, which was unnecessary. Okay. And what I do appreciate, at least Ayesha didn't continue the train.
what are you doing?
Sitting next to my uncle. What are we doing?
No,
What's happening?
not Steph in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic.
Never do that, ladies. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. This would piss me off. Now this is me for real. That would piss me off. Don't do that. Not Steph being like, this is so, don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. You see, I'm serious. Don't ever do that. Now, I shouldn't have been silly enough to even paint that picture to you to where you could even do that. But you know, people need someone to confide. People do need people to confide in. Hopefully you do it with people who are unbiased and trustworthy, although that's not the case for the majority of people talking to, you know, confiding in people. But don't be Alex in that moment. Like where now you playing my husband to my face. The fact that you thought that you could do that tells me that I have opened up a door. I have set the stage where you thought that you could even say that to me, to my face. Now I'm pissed. Now I'm pissed. Okay. I should be mad at myself for even like you thought that you could even say that to me. So I have misled you in some kind of way, unless you're just reckless. But then that you would take what I told you and then try to play my husband to my face. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I didn't like that. I did not like that. I'm gonna go back and just be mad again. Hold on.
No,
What's happening?
not Steph in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic, and you're literally like,
I mean, if he's gonna do one thing, he's gonna make it memorable.
so then did you just not talk the rest of the fucking movie?
I had to get up and
See, your friend is laughing at your man. I'm gonna go back and be mad again. Hold on, let me get my thoughts together because this is really pissing me off.
whole family's in the room. And I'm like happy, but I'm also like, what? Like,
What are you doing?
sitting next to my uncle. What are we doing?
No,
What's happening?
not Steph in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic, and you're literally like,
Friend need to be checked right there. Friend need to be checked. Listen to me, ladies. Listen to me, ladies. Listen to me very closely. I don't care how you feel about your man in that moment. I do not care. I don't care. Friend need to be checked. We've been talking about Ayesha. Now we're going to talk about the host, Alex Jones. Friend need to be checked ASAP. When you do not check that, you see I'm serious. You see I'm being really serious. If you do not check that, I don't have an end to the sentence because I don't have an if you don't check it. You got to check it. You have to check that. You must check that. You must. Now, sometimes people can be doing it. They're not meaning to be malicious and they just think that they're meeting the moment and they think that they're empathizing with you. I don't care. Don't care. I don't need that. You do not need your friends hyping you up, making you feel like your man is even sillier than you think he is. No. Nope. That need to be checked right there. Do not indulge that. Do not continue that conversation. Not only should you stop, but what Ayesha should have done. Now, again, in private conversation, this is difficult. Public. She's on her podcast, but in private conversation, y'all, you gotta say, no, you can't do that.
not Steph in that moment thinking like this is gonna be so romantic, and you're literally like,
every time it's hard to watch every time.
I mean, if he's gonna do one thing, he's gonna make it memorable.
See, she's feeling silly. This is like that's Ayesha feeling like, ooh, maybe I think I'm hopefully that's what that is. I shouldn't have, because now her friend popped in and was like, I can't believe your man would do that. Gosh, not good. Not good. You do not want that. You do not want that. Okay.
So then did you just not talk the rest of the fucking movie?
I had to get up and take a lap. Yeah.
Did he follow you?
No. And then after the movie was over, we like went in my uncle's elevator and we're like making out in there.
Good.
It was great.
That's what needed to happen. Picturing him whispering that to you and you just like stone cold being like, you're like, Uncle Jerry, just close your ears. What?
I do have an Uncle Jerry. It wasn't Uncle Jerry.
It was. Which uncle was it?
My Uncle Carl.
Uncle Carl.
Yes.
Jerry and Carl. Good names for uncles, right? Okay.
Classic.
You end up moving to the Bay Area with
Yes.
Steph. Talk to me about, for you, what went into that decision.
It was exciting. I think initially when they called his name, we were like kicking each other under the table because nobody really knew where that was. But then the next morning we got on the plane to fly out to the Bay and have never looked back. And the vibes in the Bay are
Amazing.
high. Yes.
Oh,
It's so good. Everybody's so creative. The culture is like rich.
pausing on you guys as a couple.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about you as an individual though,
Mhm.
because you had this dream.
Mhm.
And did you feel like in moving with him, did you feel like you had to pick between your career and your relationship at that point?
Yes. To an extent. That was never presented in front of me that way. It just kind of had to be that way. And because after we got married, we found out we were pregnant with our daughters so quickly.
There's that quick stuff. See?
I didn't even have time to think about what I wanted anymore.
I don't think she's really had time to think or giving herself the time to really reflect. It's just like it just all happened so fast, and I really
that we
just
were pregnant with our daughters so quickly.
see it's real time processing.
I didn't even have time to think about what I wanted anymore. It's so interesting. I spent my entire life like trying to work towards something, and then it kind of just disappeared, and I didn't think twice about it. But after my daughter turned 1, I remember there being a shift and being like, I have goals for myself. Like, this doesn't feel right. I love being a mom, but I love doing other things too. And I need to get my shit together and figure out what that looks like for myself.
Now, this is something I think a lot of women get a lot of flack for, right? Like like being a mom isn't enough. And I think that you just have to know what it is that you want in your wife before you marry her. A lot of people just aren't having very clear, let's be honest, a lot of people just are not having very clear conversations about what they should expect from each other and what they really want out of life. And then also what people are doing is hearing something, but assuming that something's going to change later. And you should not do that. Okay. Hearing something like, I want to pursue this career, and then assuming that, well, when she has kids or really gets into that family life, that of course is going to take precedent. No, she said what she said.
Okay, rewind 2 steps.
Yeah.
Married at 22.
Yeah.
How did you know you were ready for that?
I didn't. I just knew that I loved him, and I'd never like experienced anything else. I'd never felt any differently than like, this is who I want to spend the rest of my life with. And so we kind of just dove in. And
Did anyone or you or Steph or anyone have any hesitations about like, oh, we're getting married in our early 20s, or no?
no, and I say this all the time to our family. I'm like, you guys, like 22. I'm like, you guys. I'm like, not a single parent. Nobody was like, hey guys, Are you sure? Everybody was like, no, this is what's happening. And we love you and we love you. And it's going to be great. It's just like, wow. Like when I
Totally.
really look at it.
Well, and again, because there are so many people that may watch this that are like, oh, 22 for them, whether it's because like they watched their parents get married young or whatever, it was normal. But you in the beginning of this interview started by being like, girl, I didn't even think I wanted to get married.
Yes, exactly.
So it is a big deal that at 22,
Yeah.
it was.
It's a mixture of that and a mixture of like there are levels to 22. Like there's different styles of 22-year-olds. But I was like the naive, like very young, unpolished, 22-year-old. Like I didn't have very much life experience. And so it's just interesting.
It is, but it's again, I think like why I was excited to talk to you is because as women, there's just like so many things that happen in our life that we want to plan for.
Yeah.
And then obviously life just doesn't go as
Yeah.
planned. And to hear you at a young age getting married, I think like, and knowing it was such a success, but it doesn't mean the whole ride was easy. Like that's what I'm
Right.
excited to get into.
Yeah.
So, like a few months after getting married, you just
Yeah, like
said you get
3 months.
okay. What was going through your head when you found out that news?
I was confused because my
How
OB
are you confused?
because my OB said expected to take up to a year. And so I'm like, oh, in my head, I heard at least a year.
Mm.
I was thinking we were going to be like bar hopping. Like, it's like, nope, you're pregnant and you're going to be very, very sick.
Mm. Yeah, so that didn't not go as planned for her. So it seems like she has this through line in her experience where she feels like she keeps getting cut short. Like she's not getting the time that she thought she would get. She's not getting the space she thought she would get.
But I'm so grateful. I wouldn't change a thing.
Of course.
But it was not on my bingo card.
And when all this went down, like, I guess now looking back, what advice would you give to someone listening of like how to embrace when your timeline suddenly changes?
Oh, there's no such thing as a timeline, I think is the bottom line. Things are going to shift. Like life is ebbs and flows, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. Sometimes stuff's going to suck, like, but you can always recover. And I think it's important also, like sometimes you can feel like you're in your own bubble or like feel isolated or like you're the only person experiencing that thing, but there's always like a resource or there's always a community of people who are experiencing similar things.
Did you have like any friends who were in similar life stages to you at that point?
No.
They're like, babe, we're at One Oak.
No.
What are you doing?
No, actually, all of our friends are like just now having babies, like the past 4 or 5 years. So we were the trailblazers.
What was the hardest part of being a young mom?
I think my identity.
Mm.
So, because I have such an entrepreneurial spirit, not being able to call the shots all the time for myself was freaking weird. And then learning how to kind of reset myself to make it all work while still having a family was weird too. But it's made me really resilient and like a little gritty. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, like even thinking about how you said earlier, like once my daughter turned about 1, I was kind of looking around like, I love being a mom,
Yeah.
but I also have this other side of me that I can feel kind of wanting to come back up. And I think a lot of times women can experience like, or so I've read, because I'm obviously not a mother yet, hopefully. But like women can experience this like mom guilt of
Yeah.
like, if I have a career and I'm
Yeah.
not home at like did you experience that?
I still experience
Okay.
that. I still experience that. I'm always in therapy talking about this.
Hmm.
What I realized is like if you lose, like for me being married and like with my husband, if you lose all of those things that were interesting about you, even for yourself, like even the things that made me feel confident and cool, then what are you doing? And so for me, it's always been important. I mean, I'm a little ADHD, so like I have a million and five ideas. I have a million interests. I'm very creative. I and I like to explore those sides of me, and I think it keeps me who I am to like my family and the people that I love, but it also allows me to have a certain level of confidence that I don't think I would have otherwise.
Right. It's like you grew up, like we've talked about, like having this thing that you were so passionate about,
Yeah.
and to lose that creative side of yourself.
Like this is something that I think again, this is in that same vein of women wanting to, some women wanting to be more than saying more than a wife and mother. I think is just like already makes people perceive things a certain way, like more than as if you're putting something above it. So I'll say it differently. Women wanting to be other than, more things than a wife and mother can be difficult for some men, especially I think really vocal men, because that's what we typically hear more from men who have an issue with that than men who understand it, or can empathize with that. And this is in that same kind of vein, right? Like she has other interests that she wants to be able to explore. Again, I think this is something that you can know about the person you're marrying, and just know who you're marrying, and don't make any assumptions about them, if they're going to drop things or whatever, or not want to pursue the same things that really lit them up before you. Okay, like be with someone that doesn't have those same kinds of interests. Is that fair? Just like how women should be advised not to try to marry a man who does not prioritize being a father and husband. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? Because then you're going to be upset when he underperforms or undervalues those kinds of those positions. So I think that it can be difficult for men to hear that women have these some men to hear that women have these other interests or responsibilities that they want to take on. And I think that my advice is to honor what someone wants to do, respect what someone wants to do, and just don't choose that person. Like honor what they want to do, respect what they want to do, and just don't be with that person, because you won't be satisfied with them. And that's okay. Just be with different people. We have these like big internet conversations about people's individual lives, and you could very easily just not choose that kind of person. Ultimately, I think people are sharing their individual experiences, and they're not trying to they're not trying to be a like family life guru. Does that make sense? Like when it's like, well, why would you want to do anything else? This is the one. These are the best things you could possibly do. And I think that sometimes men don't realize how invalidating that actually is to like the woman's whole experience. And you can feel however you want to feel about that, but I'm a woman saying that, and this is my real thoughts about it.
That you're almost like doing a disservice to yourself, and
Yeah.
then therefore to your kids and to your husband and to your
Yeah.
relationships. Like that's who you are.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be, as women, we're always told, like, or at least it feels like people just try to have us be one dimensional, and you can do more. Not that it's easy,
No,
but it's an option.
it's an option. Like I say all the time, I'm like, when men do it, they're like, "Oh my God, you're so multifaceted. Wow.
So
Like
talented.
what a renaissance man." And I'm like, "What? Why
What?
can't women do the same thing? Like what is giving you the ick so bad that you feel like I can't do these separate things, be good at them, or at least try to?" Like what is the problem?
It is really frustrating. And then I think, thankfully, I
See, and this is where you either want to understand women's point or you don't, because like I just said it, she just said it, I mean, so it's kind of like how when men are kind of in general saying some certain things about women's behaviors or perceptions of them, and then they're frustrated. Let me put myself up. And then they're frustrated when it's like, well, men keep saying this, women keep saying this. Women keep saying this. And so I think that it would behoove men to actually be like, there's something about the way that men in general are treating this issue that is creating this feeling of like, or this experience of like conflict and limitation. What is it about the way that men in general are going about this that is creating this experience for so many women where we're hearing this is such a common thing? Okay, so this is where, and I know that plenty of men listen to my content, and this is where some men will be like, there she goes with the woman stuff. Well, yeah, well, yes, like I'm a woman, so I'm challenging men the same way I challenge women regularly. I'm going to challenge men to, when feeling that that kind of resistance, or like, oh, it can't be that, like men never try to limit women. Well, we have a bunch of women who are saying this. So I think does this make sense, y'all? Is that fair? Is that fair? So there's something in the water here that is worth looking at. Just like I would say the same thing for women, when it's like, hey, men are, like, in general, a whole bunch of men are having this issue. And even though you don't see it maybe naturally as a woman, or you don't have that same experience, there's something going on that maybe you can't relate to, that it would help you if you understood this. It would help you to connect more. It would help you in your relationship if you understood their experience more, even if it's not your experience or you don't initially understand it. Okay. I hear you loud and clear, Taylor. The mature men don't think that way. And yes, there are men amongst our ranks that do, and it's unfair. And I apologize for them. And it's an error on our part. And that's how we get to that's how we keep the conversation open. That's how we keep the conversation open. Okay. Brandon says, sounds fair. Definitely food for thought. Okay. Thank you. Men's perception hasn't evolved alongside women's regarding aspirations that go beyond wife or motherhood. Collectively, I think that that's true. Okay. I think that's true. And so let's pay attention. Let's pay attention. So I'm here for men, I'm here for women, I'm here for humans, okay? And there's some gendered issues. Just like women need to be open to some things that men have in general have some issues with. Men need to also be open to some things that women in general have issues with. There's a reason why we keep hearing this from women about, like, I feel like I'm so limited. I can't do this. Like, why I can't have something outside of mother and wifehood. I feel like my individuality is becoming repressed or even denied. Okay, so you got to wonder, is there something that you're missing here? Okay, men, is there something in general that you might be missing? Is there something about the way that you think that this is going, and it's really not how it's going? Something about your perception of this, like, women really aren't that limited, but they keep saying that they are. So maybe let's be more empathetic, okay, to what's really going on, and understand and be able to be open so that we can come to resolution. We're gonna have to do that, all right? So if you're able to, if you're able to be able to get through conversations like this, you're my people. And if this just pisses you off, and your mind goes to like pandering, or I'm trying to, absolve women of responsibility or something, this is honestly too complex. Like, this is too emotionally and psychologically complex for you at this present time. All right. So I appreciate the thoughtful comments that are coming in here. Jalil says, women deserve the right to be who they desire to be, with transparent, clear communication before commitment. Yeah. Yeah. There's inherent depth. Guap-centric says, there's inherent depth to everyone when it comes to our wants out of life. What do you think men can do to support women in that pursuit of discovery as a partner? I think that's a really good question. So I'm actually going to screenshot it, because, see, that's a question that brings about real conversation and progress. We had such a thoughtful comment that has a question that progresses the conversation. So I want you to notice that. Okay, really good. Thank you.
Like, there's just been an uptick of people being like, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm just going to do it. Even if it pisses all of you off so much and it makes you uncomfortable to see a woman succeeding, deal with that.
Yeah.
And can I tell you the truth, y'all? this is going a little bit long. I'm gonna have to cut this off. I'm gonna have to cut this off because this is too long. This is way too long. I'm gonna have to cut this off here, y'all. We're gonna come back and do more. Maybe tomorrow. I gotta go. I'm getting hungry. But yeah, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna be real with you. I feel like I can be real with y'all, right? This is a personal reaction video. I'm gonna get my real thoughts. I'm aware that there are men who follow my content who are like, wow, if I could only be with a woman who thinks this clearly. Okay, I'm not blind and I'm not deaf. I know that men think that, right? When they watch my content. Okay. I know that men think that who are in session with me and who want to be with a woman who has these kinds of qualities. Like I'm aware of that. Why you definitely shouldn't work with me if you don't want to be with a woman who has the level of intelligence, reasonability, empathy, emotional intelligence, all of that stuff. Like why would you work with me? You should be far away from me if you don't want a woman who's like, if you're like, I don't want any kind of woman like her, then of course you shouldn't watch my content. You shouldn't be my client. You shouldn't be engaged with me at all. You should be far, far away. So I'm very aware that there are some qualities about me that men are like, hey, there are some things here that are some information that she has, whether it's personal or professional, there's some information that she has that if the woman I married had either those qualities or that information, we would have a shot at a healthy connection. I think that's fair to say. I think that's fair to say at this point. I think I can safely say that at this point. Okay. The reality is that women like that. And you're either going to keep trusting me or don't. That women like that need a certain level of understanding and space for individuality. Okay. And gentlemen, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I think that plenty of people have the right idea, but don't have the right practice in how to actually live that out in their relationship. How do you actually nurture and support that? How do you maintain the kind of values and the structure that you want while also being with a woman who has a strong mind? Okay. Now, if you don't want a woman with a strong mind, we can define what that is, but I think it's someone who has personal convictions, who has goals, aspirations that are individual and apart from the relationship that existed before the relationship, that exists within the relationship. Okay. And there's also relationship goals and aspirations that come with it. And there's a lot going on. Okay. So it's both. There's the individual and there's the relationship. So if you want someone who has that level of like intelligence and that kind of mentality, listen, trust me or don't. But who else gonna tell you? There's a certain way that you can hold that relationship, hold that woman without losing the, let's say, traditional family values, okay? Without losing the structure of the relationship. Again, I think there are plenty of men who have the right idea, but don't necessarily have the right practice. And so then we get the complaints from the women on the backside, the unfulfillment, the feeling unsupported and all of that stuff. And it's not all made up. Is this making sense? Is this making sense, y'all? I think this is bringing up a really important conversation that deserves to be fleshed out even more. I hope this is giving you something to think about. And I'm going to tell you this right now. What that requires from a man to be with this kind of woman, and I'm not talking about Ayesha Curry. You understand? I'm now away from that right now. We're done with that right now. All right. What comes with that kind of woman, with that kind of mentality, requires a level of emotional intelligence, yes, a level of flexibility, yes, a level of support and nurturing individuality, yes. Yeah, it does require that to be able to hold that together. Okay, to even be attractive to this kind of woman, to even be attracted to her. Now, if you don't care about none of that, That's okay. I'm just not your person, because I work with men who want that kind of woman. Okay. I'm not talking about Ayesha Curry. I'm talking about a woman with her own personal convictions, goals, okay, values, vision. Yeah. So men who like that kind of woman and like the traditional family values and like man as the head and being a leader and all of that. We're talking about this kind of coupling that exists in the in between that we don't often hear about. This binary, you're either in total rebellion or you're totally submitted. You're totally submitted, as in I gave myself away. I gave myself away and I lose my individuality. That's what I mean by in the extreme of that. You following me? I'm not saying submission is bad. Don't misrepresent it. And I'm giving you a lot of clarity here, okay, in articulating this. I'm talking about a total loss of self for the relationship compared to a total pedestalizing of self to the detriment of relationship, where relationship is impossible, where you're so obsessed with yourself that you can't relate. I'm talking about this in between space, and not literally in the 50-50 spot, right? I'm talking about this in this space where a woman does have individuality, yeah, and a woman does have her personal convictions, yeah, and a woman does have personal goals that she does not abandon for the relationship, but instead integrates it into the relationship. I'm talking about people who like that kind of relationship. So because sometimes men will come across and some men want me to be the, like the individuality doesn't matter and the personal convictions doesn't matter, and you want to misuse and abuse the Bible, okay, to try to justify that, and that's okay. That's just not what we do here. So I didn't, that's when you have two people who have really strong mentalities who also know how to be harmonious together. That to me is an ideal relationship. Like, you've got two people who can really think, you've got two people who can really move, you've got two people who can really take action, who can really strategize together, who can really, and that does not eliminate gender roles, it does not eliminate headship, male headship, it does not eliminate that. But you have a woman who is able to be a truly active support in the relationship, not just someone who accommodates what you want to do. Okay. And if you want that, that's okay. You can have that. But I'm talking about a woman who doesn't just accommodate what it is that you want to do, but is able to actively contribute. And that takes a type of mentality that comes with some convictions, values, vision, qualities that, as someone said earlier, plenty of men might have the idea that, yeah, I'm down with that, but they don't know how to actually practice that. And then you have these unsatisfied, unfulfilled women who are exactly the type of women who are able to separate from the relationship and actually be okay. And if you don't want to believe that that's true, okay, because those are, again, exactly the type of women who actually will speak up, exactly the type of women, and not all men want that kind of woman, and that's okay. That's just not, those aren't the kind of women that I help, and those aren't the kind of men that I help. Does all of this make sense, y'all? So there's nuance in here that's required to actually be aligned with the kind of work that I do. Okay, there's space and flexibility in here that's required to actually understand the message that I'm sending here. So hopefully this helps to even clarify who I am and where I stand with this stuff. I think this, going over this interview, I wasn't expecting it to even do all of this, but it did. I would like to do the rest of it. I'm not actually going to guarantee that I'm going to do the rest of it because I got other other content to get to. But I appreciate y'all being open to what I'm sharing today. Hope you have a really great Saturday, and I'll see you really soon, y'all. Again, I'm Taylor Chandler. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I hope you change for the better. Okay. And if you don't change, I definitely wish you the best. All right, y'all. Have a good one.